I'm Jadina Nkastop Esquire. You can call me Attorney J. And today we are going to talk about uncontested divorces and why they are the way to go. So many people know that, okay, clearly if we're at the stage of divorce or considering divorce, that means that there has been a breakdown somewhere in the marriage, right? So there could have been a breakdown in communication. There could have been something that happened that really hurt one of you or whatever it is, but a decision has been made and you believe that divorce is what it is, like you're not going to move forward. If that's the case, one thing that we try, some attorneys or don't even try, but for myself, I suggested, and the network of attorneys that we have been compiling in our program that we have coming out, but we'll talk about that later. But it is really pushing for uncontested divorces. What's the difference between uncontested and contested? So generally it's what the word mean, right? When you contest something, that means that you're saying that, no, I don't agree with everything that's going on. I don't agree with maybe something that the person is saying or a decision or how they want to move forward. So basically a contested divorce is that you have filed, and in your filing, your petition or complaint, whichever one your state uses, you basically put, when you all were married, who the parties are, when you physically separated, so when you're not together anymore. And you also list some things. If you have children, you're going to list the information about the children. But then you get to say what you want to happen with one, if there's children, visitation with the children, custody with the children, child support, taxes, what you want to happen with taxes, insurance. You also have the ability to add in there, you may have specific things regarding paying attorney's fees. So there's a lot of different things that you can put within your complaint when you're asking for a divorce. You're asking for your name back if you're the woman. So, all of these things, that's in your petition. Now, once you prepare that for the person who's filing, once you prepare that, you now have to serve it on the other party. Now, once the other party receive it, the other party is saying, okay, let me read and let me see what they're asking for. And if I agree, then, I'll find out what's the process if I agree. If I don't agree, then I'm going to make that known loud and clear. Basically, if you don't agree with what you have received in a divorce, that means that you are going to contest the divorce. Specifically, you're contesting those parts that you didn't like. So let's say that the person say that they want sole responsibility in making decisions for the child. You may say, no, that doesn't make sense. The both of us are parents. We're both involved. We should share the responsibility in making decisions. Also, you may feel that, no, you should not have full custody. We should have equal time sharing. Again, you are contesting what the person has put in there, or if it's vice versa, the person is contesting what you have put on the petition. Now, what does that even mean? Because there's so much confusion that come up when we talk about contested and uncontested. Because someone say that they don't like what you have there does not mean that it's not going to go forward as you put in there, right? So we need to understand that it is your right to claim what you want. It's your right to say how you want things to go. You may say that you want to file with the taxes every year because you've been doing that in the past. It does not mean that that's how it's going to go once a judge is involved and now you have to actually state the facts to the judge. So that's another thing. Now, with a contested divorce, you're going to go back and forth. And especially if there's something that's in there and you want the exact opposite, you're going to turn around and file a counterclaim to say, I agree that we should divorce, but we should divorce on these terms. And then you list your terms. What happens with a contested divorce as to why it's not encouraged, why I don't encourage it? With the contested divorce, you are, one, cutting off communication when it comes to the process. Why do I say you're cutting off communication? Because once it becomes contested, you're standing your ground on what you believe is right and how this case needs to move forward, how things need to go, and the person is standing their ground. That usually leads to the parties not communicating. You feel like, oh, the person tried me because they asked for this. The person or you, when you put it in there, you could have been putting it in there because of emotions. You could have felt, however you felt at the time. And you said, I'm going to put everything down there that I have a right to put on there, even if I know it's not the best thing for myself. It's not the best thing for the children. If you have children, it's not the best thing for the business. If you have a business, but I have a right to ask for it. So I'm going to ask for it. It causes, like I said, number one, a breakdown in communication. Number two, it causes you to grow more and more apart. And especially if co-parenting is involved, it begins to affect your ability to co-parent because you feel as if that person is now the enemy. I mean, let's say it like it is. Just because we call it a divorce proceeding, it's still litigation. It's still being on two separate sides in court and going back and forth in court. Like, it is what it is, right? So once you're in court up against somebody, that person becomes your enemy, okay? And that's number three as to why I don't suggest that you do a contested divorce. Now, what else? Now we have expenses. Your expenses, the cost for the divorce goes from here to here the moment that you decide you're going to contest. Now, are there situations where you have no choice but to contest because the other party is just not going to participate in communicating with you, compromise, and things like that? Yes, but the idea and the thought is if you guys were able to come together at some point in life and decide we are going to do life together. While you were dating, you had to communicate, right? You had to deal with your differences. There had to be some compromise. The same thing should happen within the divorce process. You should understand that there's going to require compromise. There's going to require communication to truly go through each of the things, whether it's the children, it's finances, taxes, splitting the property. Are you going to sell your property? Are you going to keep the business? All of those things, the court, for one, see it as you guys were able to communicate to come together. You should be able to communicate when you are going apart from one another because you understand one another better than the judge does, right? So a contested divorce leads you so much further from your actual goal. And if your goal is revenge, it doesn't even make sense. You should not use the court system, the divorce process for revenge. Revenge shouldn't even be a part of it. However, the reason why I'm saying specifically do not use the court process for revenge because a lot of time it comes back to bite you. The court recognizes real quickly. The judge, when I say the court, I'm referring to the judge. So whether it's a hearing officer or the judge that's going to be there at your different hearings, they recognize pretty quickly when you're trying to use this process just to get back at the person. And no, that's not okay. And they're going to hold that against you. And I don't think anybody want to be in a position where they're in court and the judge is holding things against them because they realize you don't have good intentions, right? You're not using our process the proper way. So a lot of times that come back for you. If it doesn't come back for you within the court system, it comes back to you in life, okay? People may say, oh, well, it is what it is. Not really, because you're going to feel it one way or another. We talk about karma. We talk about do unto others as you want them to do unto you, like we find in the Bible. And a lot of people are like, well, I'll think about that later. No, think about it now. Think about it while you are now in the process or before you even start the divorce process. Think about the fact that if I take this route of just making the person my enemy during this process, how is it going to impact me mentally, physically, spiritually? How is it going to impact? Because it will. It has a direct impact on you, okay? How is it going to impact, if you have a business, the clients, the employees? How is that going to affect them if you are coming into this process, making this person enemy? You're angry at every court hearing. You're angry every time the attorney is reaching out to you with information they're requesting from you. You're just not in a good place, right? Okay, so the opposite of a contested case is an uncontested case. An uncontested case is what the courts, they actually push for that. They want you to resolve your thing. Mediation is one of the ways that the court let you know that they prefer that you resolve it, right? Because mediation is a necessary part of the process. So before you get to trial, you got to go through mediation first. Some people don't take mediation seriously. You should, and I'm going to do a video on mediation, how to prepare for it, the purpose for it within a divorce, because we have civil cases, we got criminal cases, but for a family law divorce case, we want to make sure that you are using that mediation as effectively as possible. So if you understand everyone's role, you'll be able to use it better, and the rights that you have. So you'll find that in another video that I have here on the channel, okay? But yes, so for uncontested, the court is already there, right? The court is saying, listen, before I even hear all of the drama, I want you guys to go to mediation, try to work it out on your own, and then you can bring it back to me. If you can't do it on your own, then okay, I'm here, we'll get it done, okay? All right, so with the uncontested case, you are coming together, even if you have the assistance of attorneys, but you are coming together to make the decision together on each of the topics that has to be covered in a divorce. So when it comes to your property, so the things that you guys have together, bank accounts, any liabilities, credit cards, loans, mortgage, whatever, you guys are deciding how you're going to split that. You're also deciding what's going to happen with the children, what's going to happen with taxes, what's going to happen with our businesses. You're actually coming together to make that decision. What does that look like? We just had a number of cases that closed out, uncontested cases. So there's two ways that you can have an uncontested case. And it's basically what works for you all, right? What works for the communication level that you're at. And also what resources, what do you have access to? So the first way is doing it without an attorney. So if you do it without an attorney, you all basically can go to the courthouse together, or now, since COVID, you can communicate with the courthouse together and ask them to send you the divorce packet. Once they send you the divorce packet, you guys can sit together and look at each of the documents. Look at what's in the documents, because the court actually provides you with a sample complaint, just the parts are not filled in, and you can manually fill it in or type it in to that section, okay? So you can go through each section, and the court is basically guiding you. It's a template. You know each and every issue that you have to address. Alimony is one, taxes is one, your assets and liabilities are one. Insurance, life insurance, name, or is the person going to keep their name or not? So all of those things are already there on a document. So you guys get to sit down and go through each thing and say, okay, what about this? What about that? You also have something that's called your marital settlement agreement, which everything that I listed, you're basically putting that into an agreement, and they give you that as well. So you're looking through the agreement and you can make a decision. If you have minor children, you have what's called a parenting plan. They give you a sample version of the parenting plan as well, so that you know everything you can consider. The good thing about it, when you're sitting down, you can say, hey, this isn't even our issue. We don't even have to worry about splitting every holiday. I mean, they have every holiday, Jewish holidays, American holidays, any holiday you could think of is on there, from MLK to Yom Kippur is on there. And whether mother is going to have it, father is going to have it, are they going to spend it together, or are you just going to ignore it? So there's so much direction within the packet if you guys wanted to come together and do that. And it costs so much less. You are not paying as much money to get these documents, because when you start going back and forth, and you'll see the video on discovery, which is one of the processes that you go through when you have a contested divorce. So we're going to talk about that as well. But for right now, when you have an uncontested divorce, you skip a whole section of the divorce process that is unnecessary. It is stressful. It's annoying. It's everything you can think of, okay? And that's called discovery. You skip discovery. You're not discovering anything. You guys are making the decisions. You're saying what you're going to exchange, what you're not going to exchange when it comes to information, and you get to the end faster so that you can heal, so that you can fulfill your purpose. Because remember, my goal, even in having these conversations, when I have coaching, either our group coaching or our one-on-one coaching or our doula services, divorce doula services, the goal is that you have to go through this process, right? It's inevitable. You've tried everything that you can, and you're going to go through this process. However, I want to make sure that you are well informed about the process. I want to make sure that you have sufficient support throughout the process, and also that you are keeping in mind your purpose in life after and during this process, right? Because it helps you go through it, and it also gives you that treat, right? The light at the end of the tunnel of your purpose, what you have to fulfill. What are you called to? Are you serving in the community? Is it a business you're going to start? Is it a ministry? What is it that you're going to do? Are you going to move up the ranks at your job? Do you want to spend more time with the children? What are you going to do? And what are you called to do that you are now going to be able to fulfill without this divorce looming over your head? So we want to get you from the toxic, from the pain, the hurt, the mourning process of divorce to your purpose, okay? So I call it from toxic to triumph, and some people may not call their situation toxic. So from divorce to fulfilling your purpose, okay? So that's the goal. So every video we have, every tip that we have, the short answers that I do, the tips that I give, all of these videos, the coaching, it's always so that you can realize what you have inside of you, realize that there's so much more that's waiting for you on the other side of divorce, and that you can be prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, socially to tackle that, to take that on and give it your all, not crumble within the divorce, not forget your worth within the divorce, that you are now at a place where you cannot do anything. You don't feel that you're worthy. You don't feel that you have the ability, the talent to fulfill what you're called to do. And there's no way that God brought you to it and he cannot get you through it, okay? So what is the second way with the uncontested? So remember, the first way is you guys come together, you're looking at the documents, and then you get it done on your own. You take it back to the courthouse, and you get your hearing, the divorce is finalized. The second way with uncontested, same thing, right? We're still covering the same issues, everything, but then you just hire an attorney to help you through the process, to make sure it's done right, to make sure that there's no delays or no issues that you face during the time that you are preparing, okay? So when an attorney come along, or the both of you, whether the both of you hire an attorney, the attorneys will be the ones communicating. We communicate with you to find out, what's your position. We still ask that you all communicate on those terms. Give us the terms, the things that you guys agree on, and then we put that in writing. We make sure it's done the right way. It still costs you completely a difference from contested to uncontested, because usually the uncontested is a flat fee. So across the board, most attorneys, very rarely are you going to find in any state that you're in where an attorney is going to charge you hourly for uncontested. Not that it's unheard of, but it's not usual. You will know exactly what you're paying. You know what the court filing fees are. You get to waive service of process, that extra fee, because the person's going to sign that, hey, whoever is not filing, they just sign off that, no, I don't need service of process, no sheriff, no process server. I will just receive the paperwork the way that the person give it to me. Okay, so much easier. But what's some of the benefits? Some of the benefits is the fact that you guys are leaving a door for communication open. You guys are showing a united front to the children, because, I mean, if I get to children, oh my gosh, the trauma that happens to children, the trauma that happens to your parents and your loved ones, that's been a part of your married life for so long. It's not just you. Most people have an army. The village is going through the process with you. So when you are preparing a uncontested divorce, you're able to still communicate. You're able to be in the same place at the same time without too much hostility. There may be pain, the communication may not be the same, but at least when it matters on the important things like decisions within a divorce process, you're able to come together. You're able to answer all of those things, make decisions together, and have the process done, and end up on the opposite side of divorce. Now you're ready for that next chapter. And we believe that your next chapter is going to be your best chapter, right? Because if not, then maybe we need to reconsider this divorce. Maybe we need to take a few more steps, stay within the marriage, and do what is necessary to build the marriage back up. Whether it's communication, whether you guys need to take some time away, maybe you need to let go of some things, change your job, change what you're doing, and then you revive that marriage. That's always the goal, guys. So just know that's the goal. So you'd be like, oh, I'm not there. That's fine if you're not there, but there's somebody that needs to hear that there are things you can do to restore the marriage. But you gotta be willing, and the other party has to be willing. One person cannot do it alone, right? It will take two to tango in this situation as well. Okay, so that's my pointers on why I believe uncontested divorces are 100% better than contested, and why I encourage all of you, if you're facing divorce right now, even if you started contested, think about changing it. Think about going the route of, okay, we were able to sit down and have communication throughout our marriage. At some point in the marriage, let's do it now because it matters now. Let's make sure our dollars are going to where it matters, as opposed to throwing it into the court system for a divorce that has to end at some point. You can't keep the divorce going forever just to spite the person. No, at some point it has to end. So do everything that you can to have it done in the most friendly, the calmest way possible, where you keep your sanity, you keep your peace, and you fulfill your purpose on the other side. Like I always say, I believe that God is with you. He is in control. Do not rely on your own strength. Do not rely on your own understanding, because divorce is not something that you plan for. It is a death to your marriage. You are in mourning. So remember, rely on God. He will take those burdens. He give you his peace, because you have to participate effectively in your divorce process if divorce is inevitable for you.